This is the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. Good evening, all. I'm Shashina Roll. As always, it is so great to have you with us. Topping news today, members of the legal profession participating in the traditional track for the annual worship service to launch the new legal year. Joan Davis Roll reports.
The procession began at the seat of justice on Grand Bahama at the Ghana Lavardi Justice Center, traveling along the mall downtown Freeport, ending at the oldest church on Grand Bahama, the Pro Cathedral of Christ the King, where members of the legal community gathered to seek guidance from a higher power. Through various selections and biblical scriptures read by the Honorable Chief Justice Sir Michael Barnett and the Attorney General, the Honorable Allison Maynard Gibson, QC, they were reminded about the sacred vocation to which they have been called. It was a strong admonition coming from the Venerable Archdeacon Harry Bain, taken from the biblical book of Micah chapter 6, verse 6 to 8, as he compelled members of the legal profession to uphold the ideals of their profession.
Those in the legal profession, lawyers, judges, justices, you are by your profession called to act justly. That is, to be fair in your dealings with others. Don't try to, as Bahamians say, gyp people. Remember, God does not like ugly. He does not like people with ugly ways, who do things that disadvantage others, cheat others out of their hard-earned money, or give them false hope just to get a case. When we are unjust, unfair, and downright evil in our doings, it does not matter how many hours you spend in church or how much money you make. God is not pleased. Going to church on Sunday is no good unless your religion makes you honest on Monday, indeed every day.
He further called on the barristers at law to have mercy.
The high rate of unemployment and the implementation of value-added tax, or VAT, not 19, has put a strain on the finances of many. There are many people who are in need of your professional help, but are legitimately unable to afford it. This is where your loving kindness and mercy comes into play.
Archdeacon Bain warned members of the judiciary that one day they, like countless many, will have to give an account to the ultimate judge.
When you depart this earth, at the end of your journey, we all have to stand before the ultimate judge. And I don't mean the Chief Justice, the Honorable Sir Michael Barnett. We all have to stand before God Almighty and give an account of how we have lived our lives here on earth. Are you prepared to present your case?
Joan Davis Roll, ZNS Network News.
Well, 12 divers reported missing at sea have been found. The group from the Viva Wyndham Club Fortuna Resort set out early yesterday for a dive expedition and encountered some challenges. A call was made for assistance late yesterday. Basra was notified and a rescue team sprang into action. Gary Simmons, Search Rescue, fills us in.
At that time, of course, it was dark and stormy, and nobody was going to go out there without the exact position of the vessel. The U.S. Coast Guard was on standby to fly. A decision was made by the Defense Force that they would wait and go out in the morning. All vessels were on standby in the morning as Basra launched an aircraft. The aircraft was able to successfully locate the vessel anchored near where they had originally planned on going diving. At that time, all the positions were relayed to the United States Coast Guard, Royal Bahamas Defense Force, and the Royal Bahamas Police Department, and they proceeded to the location where they're able to take the people off the vessel and bring them safely into West End.
Now, the group was spotted by an aircraft, rescued and taken by boat into West End. Simmons says Basra is happy the story ended on a high note.
And it had a happy ending, whereas it may not have. It was a lot of people on a small boat with a lot of equipment. There was 22 dive tanks and 12 people, including 250 pounds of lead and various camera equipment. So it's at this point, we're glad to say it did have a happy ending.
Now, the condition of the 12 divers are not known at this time, but needless to say, they were relieved to be rescued from the stormy seas. And some good news for consumers, as there has been a significant drop in prices at the pumps. Tonight, the Grand Bahama Human Rights Association is welcoming the news and says this bodes well for many residents, especially during these tough economic times. If you've been to the pumps recently, then you would realize a significant drop in gas prices. The last time we spoke with President of the Grand Bahama Human Rights Association, Joseph Darville, he was upset that Focal's gas prices were on the increase, despite the fact that the cost of oil was on the decrease. Now he is singing a different tune.
I'm exceedingly happy to report that this morning when I went to get some gas, I paid only $4.03 per gallon. And in fact, the attendant at the station said, "Mr. Dowell, you better make some comments about that." I said, "Oh, definitely." So at this particular point in time, I want to congratulate Focal and the government, particularly the price control, for bringing the gas down to almost $4, just a tad bit above $4 right now.
The cost of gas was up to $5.86, but now is reportedly down to just over $4. Darville was asked if he believes coming to the media last month is part of the reason for the drop.
I don't want to take credit for it. A lot of people giving me credit for it, but the fact is, I think in the first instance it did, because I had inside information that as a result of comments that I made, they rapidly began negotiating to lower the price, whereas they had anticipated allowing it to go on for another couple of weeks before they did it. So I think at the present time, Focal is sensitized to the fact that we as consumers are very watchful. And I speak on their behalf. Hundreds and hundreds of people counting. In fact, just last week, people are saying, "Mr. Dowell, please put a message out there again and ask Focal to drop it even more compared to what's happening in the U.S."
In the U.S., gas is down to around $2 a gallon in some states. And Darville says he hopes that the trend continues here at home.
Last year, at one point, the gas was selling at $5.86, and now it's down to just a little bit over $4, which is extraordinary for the people of the Bahamas, and specifically for the people of Grand Bahama.
But he is optimistic that Focal will continue to lower the cost of gas. He says this is a major relief for a lot of people on Grand Bahama. The YMCA here in Freeport paying respect to Sir Jack Hayward, a man who invested much to the development of that program. Sir Jack passed away on Tuesday at the age of 91, and he will be remembered for his generosity to charity and youth-related programs on Grand Bahama. As Megan Shepard tells us, the Y's executive director says the Y had no greater friend than Sir Jack Hayward.
Executive Director of the YMCA, Karen Pinder Johnson, reflecting on the founder of the institution, the late Sir Jack Hayward. Johnson says his passing is indeed sad, as Sir Jack truly had a love for the YMCA and the children and families that it served. Sir Jack's vision began in 1969, and he had a passion for serving the community through various programs.
In doing that, whenever there was funding needed for it, he never would turn his back to it. In fact, Sir Jack cared so much about the YMCA and a lot of the other civic groups that I think in 1990 he brought on Mr. Terry Goldsmith, who came in and put his shoulders to the grind and did what was necessary to bring the YMCA back. And I've had the good fortune of working along with Mr. Goldsmith while Sir Jack was alive, along with Mr. St. George. And those individuals, when it came to the YMCA, never at any time said no to the YMCA.
Johnson says she recalls a time during her administration when the power was shut off and Sir Jack came to the rescue.
I made a phone call. I spoke to his secretary, and a few hours later, he called, and I said, Jack, we turned the power off. Of course, he always wanted to know, did you make your contribution? You know, because they did. I said, Sir Jack, we did. We just can't keep it up. Well, he made a call, and within the next 15 to 20 minutes of speaking with Sir Jack, I got a call from the then president of the power company, and 10 minutes after that, he was here at the YMCA, and the power was then put back on. That's the type of impact Sir Jack had when it came to the YMCA and wanting the YMCA to be here for the community of Grand Bahama.
Sir Jack had a passion for sports and a football legend in his own right. Johnson says he was always interested in the activities at the YMCA and what was going on with the athletes. She says he truly believed that sports was an avenue to change one's life.
No matter what time of the day I would call, he would always return my calls and would sit and listen to what programs are going on. He was interested in knowing how the kids were doing at nationals. He wanted to know if any of the kids from here making it at a different level in swimming. In addition to that, he was keen about, well, soccer was his passion.
Johnson says everyone is still in mourning over Sir Jack's passing. She says he was a visionary who had major plans and expectations for the YMCA. And now that he is gone, she says she hopes the non-profit organization will still be taken care of.
I am hoping that the love that Sir Jack has for the YMCA and for the community of Grand Bahama would have sparked him to put certain things in place to ensure that the support that he's been giving us over the years will still continue long after he's not here.
Megan Shepard, 7S Network News.
As we wrap up our reflections on the struggle to majority rule, tonight we will hear from Dennis Preacher Hall, a man who was once front and center in the struggle in the transportation industry here on Grand Bahama.
Grandma, Pa, and me, we came on the slope John B.
They used to have the bus come to West End, toting the people from West End to Freeport to the casino, and leaving our taxi drivers, they couldn't get nothing. I said, this is going to stop. And I tell you, I was wicked. I was wicked. But I was wicked for trying to make a living for my family and working along with my taxi drivers, Morris Moore, Unbert John, and all them fellas, Allison Coleman, gone. I was working with them. I tried to make a living for my family. And anywhere I see a bus, I try to stop them, get them off the road. I know one night, bus take all the people from West End, leave us just sitting there. I followed the bus in the Freeport. I said, now if you can carry the people back in West End, I got my ice pick in my pocket. Oh yeah, the jack hole in the tire.
Bringing news that matters to you. You're watching the Bahamas Tonight Northern Edition.
Welcome back. 23-year-old Antonio Johnson of Garden Villas was formally charged before Magistrate Charlton Smith this week on armed robbery and murder charges. The charges relate to the armed robbery and shooting of Willie Bethel that occurred on Hearn Lane on April 8th of 2012. Now, Johnson was not required to enter a plea as a preliminary inquiry has been set for February 23rd. Bail was denied and Johnson was remanded to Her Majesty's prison. In other news, a local musician, songwriter, and producing is using his talent to tackle the issue of crime head-on. Sabrina Brown has the details.
Veteran musician Calvin Russell is preparing to release a DVD on crime and its impact on society. He says the idea was born out of a personal experience.
About 2 years ago, somebody kicked open our back door, pointed a gun in our face and said, "Give me the money or give me to Gav." So we said we didn't have any money. But he just pushed us around. He knocked my wife to the ground. Philip said, he know you have money. So we had a few dollars that we was going away. So we just gave it to him, you know. Then he said, he called her name, say, "I know you. If no money in this, I will be back."
Russell believes the visual production will serve as a preventive measure against crime.
After the fact, there's very little can be done. So I said, write this song to try to reach the young people, let them know that you have another way to go. You don't have to choose to do crime. You don't have to follow people doing crime. You have your life, because once you cross that line into crime, you can't go back in time and change nothing.
Youth leader Dudley Said is endorsing the efforts of Russell. He says he too was a victim of crime.
In 1996, someone broke into my home, tied up my wife, put a gun to my son's head, and stabbed me 7 times and shot me. So hearing the story brought back a lot of memories. It could happen to the preacher, it could happen to the businessman, it could happen to anybody. It took me about almost 4 years before I could actually sleep at night. So young men out there, when you break in someone's home, you're hurting a lot of people.
Russell's pastor Eddie Victor believes this modern approach will have far-reaching effects in the fight against crime.
It's so important that the message about crime gets out, that crime is destructive to our society, that it also destroys people's lives, and the need to confront this from all sectors is very important. And I'm particularly very inspired by the approach that Calvin Russell has taken. Being a professional musician, he is now taking his talent to use it to send a message through video and song.
Calvin Russell's DVD on crime and gospel CD will be launched next Friday, January 23rd, during a concert at Living Water Assembly. Sabrina Brown, ZNS Network News.
Well, many changes taking place in the healthcare system on Grand Bahama. The new year brought a changing of the guard as a new administrator has taken office. Tonight, Italia Hall talks with the outgoing administrator about her tenure in office.
Of the Public Hospitals Authority.
Her journey started 4 years ago as hospital administrator at the Rand Memorial Hospital. Catherine Reach reflects on her time in Grand Bahama, and she says it has been an exciting experience, and she's confident that she was able to demonstrate strong commitment to her job by completing her first task, which was to bring a major improvement at the hospital.
4 officers were assigned to look specifically at those issues of quality, safety. We looked at patient satisfaction, so surveys were done all along the line of the hospital positioning itself to be able to respond to what the community is saying about us. And obviously, by extension, our responsibility was one, to ensure that we make whatever adjustments was necessary to be able to create an atmosphere of responsiveness to the public's perception.
One of the top priorities was the renovation of the accident and emergency room, and she says she could not have done it without the help of her staff.
Overall, I've done so much. Many nights I invested a lot of my wake hours dreaming about new ways to create better opportunities to help to improve and to upgrade the environment here at the RAN. I looked at ways to try to inspire staff, because I realized that at the end of the day, one's success is dependent on one's ability to be able to empower your staff to believe in what they do, and that way at the end of the day we would get better, dividends in our investment.
Weech says the hospital revenue was the highest of all time last year, and she is pleased with her accomplishments as she ensures that others will continue to excel.
It may not be for my own personal achievement, but the mere fact that the community and the staff that I work with have had only complimentary things to say about some of the achievements and I can't take credit alone. While I may have had the dream, obviously my dream would never have come to a reality had it not been for the commitment of the staff, had it not been for the commitment of the management committee that I work with to ensure that some of these dreams are met.
Italia Hall, ZNS Network News.
In other news, the Ministry of Tourism is preparing for its signature awards event later this month. The 16th annual Cacique Awards will be held on Saturday, January 24th at the Malia Nassau Resort. Now, the prestigious event is used to honor outstanding people within the tourism industry throughout the country. Ministry of Tourism's Director for the Northern Bahamas, Betty Bethel, says this year Grand Bahama has 3 finalists who will compete for the title in various areas.
Kevin Tomlinson, the maestro of the Grand Bahama Youth Choir, is a finalist in the Creative Arts category. And I'm very confident that we're going to walk away with some wins. We also have our handicraftsmen out of West End, Rogana Wilchcombe and her sister Vernetta Frith. They are finalists in the handicraft category. They do absolutely amazing work. We have Michael Glinton Hall, who is the Employee of the Year finalist from the Grand Lucayan.
Now, Grand Bahama has figured prominently at the awards over the years, and Bethel also has high expectations this time around.
Over the years, we've done extremely well. We have many winners. We've got Tony Macaroni, who was a winner one year, Ambrose Guthrow in a sporting category. We have had bellmen like Stanley Williams, who has won the Cacique. I can go on, but we're very privileged to have some very esteemed Grand Bahamians at the top of the Cacique list.
Stay with us. Ricardo Liveborn has a check on sports when we come back.
Grandma, Pa, and me, we came on the slow John B.
And he had 4 or 5 buses down there. Don't want the taxi drivers to get a job and say, hell no. It ain't gonna work like this today. So I put my car right in the front of that bus. He said, you preacher boy, move that car. I said, not today. When you get this bus at the harbor, you preacher boy, move that car. I said, not today. So the white fella jumped into the bus. The boss of the Freeport taxi jumped into the bus, and he came behind my taxi to push me overboard in that deep water. And what I did, I pulled the emergency brakes up. I put my 2 foot on the brakes, and I hold that. I said, now push it. And when he pushed, it broke up the taxi right there.
This portion of the news is brought to you by Pollo Tropical. Warm up with Pollo Tropical's steaming hot Caribbean chicken soup for only $2.84. Add a chicken wrap or side salad. Life is better under the palm.
Holiday deals open 8 to 8 where your dollar buys more. You'll be amazed with what we have here just for you. Party favors, school and office supplies, many of your household needs, and essentials for your car. Even an event space for business meetings and parties. Make some copies. Google a school project. Our snack bar is a real favorite. On the way to work, sample our selection of teas. And remember, your tea is free. See us on Facebook for specials and new arrivals.
Hey everybody, welcome to Sports on Ricardo Liveborn. Arlene Butler is celebrating tonight because she's watching us. She saw Sheena, and boy, she said, I wish I was 19 again. I ain't going there. Here we go. It's folks, the high school basketball season is underway, and Junior Boys Grand Bahama Academy looking pretty good, 49-7. Also Jack Hayward defeating St. Paul 16-15. Sunland over Igmarok 25-19, and also the Sunland Stinger Senior Boys defeating Lucana National 48-19. Jack Hayward over Grand Bahama Academy 44-17, and Tabernacle Cool BMA's Warriors 40-12. St. George's and Igmarok laced up the sneakers. This was not pretty, but we got to show it. Basketball fans in the gym for the start of the high school season. The BMA's Warriors waiting for their tip-off time. The St. George's Jaguars, Lake Morrock Blue Jays on court, and this one was Jaguars Day. Jaguars ball. Watch the speed and move to the hoop. Take the foul to boot. The Blue Jays trying to keep this one close, the soft touch, and a good bounce to go with it. Igmarok then simply hit a brick wall. Nothing seemed to be going right for the Blue Jays. The Jaguars took full advantage of the Blue Jays not being able to come up short in this one. They blasted Igmar Rock 52-19. Igmar Rock simply were in a quagmire, and they played that way. That's called the air ball. The Reach Out Ministry Saints played their first game of the GBBA. The Cobras simply gave the Saints fits and came away with a 57-55 shellac in the Reach Out Ministry. Men of Honor and Arawak Stars followed Division I play. This was hoops. The Men of Honor with the rock and a strong move to the rack for the deuce. The Arawak Stars were not phased and gave the men something to think about. Kyle Grant got a phone call and went to work for the Stars. Oral Jones Jr. also got a phone call. It's called shooting from the arc. Kyle showed why he's one of the top players in the GBABA and tough in the paint. Oral Jr. said, "Who needs brawn? Just be able to drain the tray." Neither team able to take the upper hand in this one. Come on, Big O Jr., show these men that you can shoot and you got game. This was also a run and gun game at both ends of the floor. Thompson simply got the best of this one. The Arawak Stars came away with a 62-61 win. The Men of Honor let them know they'll be back. And also they got some scores in from the league from yesterday. The Igmar Rock Junior girls defeated Sister Mary Patricia Russell 17-13. Igmar Rock down Grand Bomb Academy 20-11, and Mary Star Academy Senior girls defeating Jack Hayward 13-11. As far as BMES, they got by St. George's 14-8, and Igmar Rock over St. Paul's 14-3. Lucana National defeating Tabby 14-10, and under 17 played Jack Hayward with a pretty good one as well. 21-17 over St. George's, and also Mary Star looking pretty good as well. Let me tell you that a former National Bowling member and Federation Executive Leslie Noel Seymour will be laid to rest tomorrow, folks, and he'll be laid to rest and down at 2:30 p.m. at the St. Agnes Anglican Church in New Providence. His passing was somewhat of a shock to the bowling community, and last night he was remembered by his buddies of the Potbelly Strikers and family and also associates. Past president of the Bahamas Bowling Federation and national coach Monique Leary said it best that Derry had a passion for bowling and for life. He's a jewel, and he'll always shine.
On behalf of all of the bowlers here in Grand Bahama, we just want to give our love and support to his family, Meg and all of his children, stepchildren, adopted children, and all of his brothers, sisters, and whomever may be grieving at this time on Leslie's loss, to let them know that we fully support them and give them our condolences and love. We'll always remember Leslie. He was one of us. He will always remain one of us. And so to the family, we're now your family, and we'll remain your family.
And we're going to miss Derry. Orlene Butler, 85 years young. She got to be from Andros. Got to be. Butler, it's my cousin. That's it, folks. That's it for Sports Tonight.